Good morning! That's better! See, when I was raised, when you came down for breakfast and you didn't have a smile on your face, Dad said, back upstairs! So all of us had to have a smile on our face. Today I'm going to talk to you about something that's near and dear to your heart. Some of you want to have more money in your bank account after you graduate, right? All right. So today we're going to talk about an element of the marketing mix. Within promotion, one element of promotion is personal selling. How does marketing and personal selling work together? It's simple. Marketing identifies a prospect, someone who has needs. Sales converts the prospect into a customer. And once the conversion to a customer happens, revenues come into a company. And if you're in sales and you bring in revenues, you get a percentage of it. So let's talk about how it is that you can have more money in your bank account after you graduate. One thing that I know you need is some of you have student loans. Student loans, raise your hands. Yeah. You want to pay off those student loans, sir? As quickly as possible, right? Excellent. So now let's talk about sales in your future. When you make this decision that sales is where you're going to start, a couple things happen. Number one, it will boost your confidence. Second, it's going to enable you to begin to become successful. Success is defined as feeling good about yourself. And last, money in your bank account, because you're going to get a percentage of the revenues that you create for a company. Now, I know there are some of you who are sitting out there who are saying this. What? Me? In sales? Are you drunk? In fact, I hate salespeople. I'm looking into your brains. Now, why do you hate salespeople? When was the last time you had a bad experience with a salesperson? Would you raise your hands? Raise your hands. Had a bad experience. Have you ever had a bad experience with a salesperson? Okay, raise your hands. Come on, guys. If you look around, you'll see that most people had a bad experience with a salesperson. But when was the last time you had a good experience with a salesperson? Raise your hand. 1, 2. You see, our conception of what sales is surrounded by this concept. That when we go to the mall and we walk by the booth and the lady comes out and smears hand cream on our hand and says blah, 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 you go, no, I hate salespeople. Right? But when you run into a good salesperson, and that salesperson fulfills your needs, identifies what they are, and then meets them, you're happy, right? So you went in to get this, and you got that, but you're happier. So when we get what we want, we don't attribute that to a salesperson. We just got what we wanted. But when we get one of those evil people who tries to force us to buy something we don't want, we call those people salespeople. Statistic number 1. Are you ready? In the United States today, of those people working, 1 out of 9 sells for a living. How many of your parents are in sales? Raise your hands. Look, they're all over the place. In the world, nothing happens until somebody sells something. What does that mean? It means that people on their own are slow to change. They've been doing something well, and they keep doing it well because it works. And in comes the salesperson that says, you should do it this way. You go, give me a break. I know what I'm doing. I don't need that. But until the salesperson helps you understand that you're going to be better off using a new process, using a new product, you don't change. So it's salespeople around the world that cause things to change. This is why you can be excited with a sales career, because that's what we do all day long. Is we help people change so they can live better lives. Statistic number 2 for you. Of all the students, now listen, for all the students that have a job 12 months after graduation, across all colleges, half wind up in sales. Why? It's because that's where the jobs are. The entry-level jobs are in sales. Why? It's because in sales you have to learn 2 important things. You have to understand the products and services that your company offers. And you have to relate that to customers. So you have to understand what customers want to buy. You see, an entry-level sales position just gets you started in a company. That's why, across all colleges, 50% of the students that have jobs 12 months after graduation are in sales. But hold on, you're in the business college. 2/3. Of all the people that have jobs 12 months after graduation in the business college across America, 2/3 are in sales. But I don't want to be in sales. What a good job. Why? So, given this, why haven't you declared a sales major or a sales minor? So what is it? So why is it that you've got this crazy professor who just loves sales? How does it work? Because most people, when they look at someone who's a good salesman, they look at that person or a salesperson, they look at them and they think that what they do is magic. They walk in, somebody does this, and when they leave they go, whoa, what happened? Well, let me give you a primer, because this is what we teach. Number 1, the first step in personal selling is to build trust. You can't go forward without building a relationship with the person. That's why when you go down to the mall and some schmuck puts cream on your hand, you go, ooh, get out of here. There's no relationship. They don't know you, you don't know them. So the first thing you have to do is you have to build trust. Once you've built trust, then you can probe. You can identify needs. Now notice, have I talked about the product here? Or the service? No. Until you can identify that someone has a need, don't you dare try to sell them something. Because that's what you hate about salespeople. Right? So what we teach is you've got to be a detective. If you're going to persuade your mom, you can't say, Mom, I need money. Because she's sick and tired of that. You've got to try to figure out what needs she has that giving you extra money will fulfill. Once you have the need, only then do you make a presentation. And the presentation is all about helping the person understand the needs that will be fulfilled by the benefits of the product or the service. It's really pretty simple. And once the person learns that they're going to be better off after purchasing and using a product or service, then you say, well then, let's get started. And this is what we call personal selling. Process starts 40% of the time that you engage with someone else is spent building trust. 30% is spent trying your best to understand whether they have needs. Only 20% is the presentation, and the last 10% is to confirm that the needs will be fulfilled by the product or service. And when you're sold this way, you like it because your needs get fulfilled. What can a person earn in an entry-level sales position today? If you stay in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and you decide to start your sales career here, you will make in your first year somewhere in the neighborhood of $35,000 to $40,000. If you go to Nashville, it goes to 50. If you go to Chicago, it goes to 60. Now you understand the difference. It's more expensive to live there, and it's more expensive to live in Chicago. So they're going to pay you more. That's just to enter. Year 2. In year 1, you learn how to apply what we teach you about how to sell to product knowledge. Year 2, you'll make about $70,000. Year 3, stay in the same place. Keep learning. You acquire clients. You're now at $100,000 per year. And you're saying, I don't believe that. How? $100,000? You can't conceptualize what that is. Because you're broke. And your bank account is leaking all the time. So if you earn $10 an hour, you think, wow, I'm in hog heaven. So let's take $35,000, right? How much is that a month? About $3,000. How much is it a week? It's about $800 less taxes. So it's about, say, $600 a week. Would you like to earn $600 a week? Yeah, I sure would. Well, that's just the start, guys. This morning, I'm reading the Wall Street Journal. Is that coming up next? Yeah. I'm reading the Wall Street Journal, and the Wall Street Journal has an article about the best colleges in America. So I pull up Western, and I look at this statistic up in the upper right-hand corner. It says, salary 10 years after graduating from college. The average person who's graduated from Western 10 years ago is only making $36,000. Not in sales. That's where you start. How does this work? We put together a track for students who decide, I'm going to start in sales, and I want to start with an excellent company. Each fall, we take our best sales students down to the National Collegiate Sales Competition in Atlanta, Georgia. Here's the team last year. There's something that's missing from this photograph. Women. I invited them, but they decided, but the one who is in the class we teach, it's the competition for this, decided that she wanted to continue to work for the organization in Allen County. So she decided she didn't want to go to the NCSC. We've had many, many, many females, and frankly, there are more females that are coming into sales all the time. Talk about the glass ceiling. In sales, it's about merit. It's about how good you are at identifying needs and helping people get what they want. So this was my team last year, 9. Of those 9, and these are the companies who sponsor the National Collegiate Sales Competition. Why do they sponsor it? They want to to hire entry-level salespeople out of college. There are 72 universities who compete in this, and all those universities have sales programs much like Western. And we compete against all those, and we take 2 presenters, and there are 72 universities, so there are 144 competitors. This last year, we finished 14th. Of the 9 students I took down, all got offers. 6 accepted. Here they are. Gartner hired 2 salespeople in the top. Lennox hired the next 2. Qualtrics out of Provo, Utah hired 1, and Tom James. I just pulled these off LinkedIn this morning. So those 6, what is identical when you look at these 6 photographs? They're all, no, oh they are, but yeah, but that's only this last year. They're all smiling. Why are they smiling? That sure does look better, especially if you're in sales, right? But number 2, they're smiling because the people on the top that went to work at Gartner will make about $60,000 this year. At Lennox, they start at 55. At Qualtrics, they start at 45. At Tom James, they start at 35. Plus commission. That means after they trained you and you're successful, they pay you more. How would this work for you? Well, you're in the first class, Marketing 220, which introduces you to the realm of marketing. If you say to yourself, okay, I want to be in sales, or I want to investigate sales, you can create a sales minor, and you can attach a minor to any other major program outside of marketing. You can create a sales major if you want this as your concentration. We have social media, we have strategic marketing, and we have sales. If you said to yourself, nope, I want to make that kind of money, I'm going to be a sales major. Here's what happens. The first course you take is Marketing 325, Personal Self. Second course you take, when you think about this NCSC, this National Collegiate Sales Competition, is in the winter term, between your junior and senior year, you'll take 420. This is called Sales Team Practicum, where I teach you the product that's going to be sold at the NCSC, and it's the competition. The best 2 students that come out of that become the presenters. The next 4, Western pays, they're the internal coaches. Every other student, this year I'm taking 18. The other students are alternates, and they go down to get their jobs. Once you've taken those 2 courses, then there are a couple requirements. 424 is called Salesforce Management. In that class that I teach students about themselves. How to understand yourself, how to understand others, so you can create relationships with people, whether you like them or not. Then we teach presentation skills in Marketing 425, because that's what you're going to be doing in sales or in management for the rest of your career. It's just a skill to be able to connect your brain to your mouth and do it well. Then, when you're completing those, you get your job. It's not just getting a job. You get the job you want. So today, I started by saying to you, I know you need money. You got to pay off your student loans. You want to have a bank account that has more than moths crawling out of it. And every time you look, it's, oh, I thought there was some money in there. We want to put some real money in your account. Take a hard look at sales. When you invest in sales, you're going to feel better about yourself and more confident. You're going to be on the road to success, and you're going to have more money in your pocket. Now, I'd like you to take out a piece of paper. Piece of paper. What I try to do is to disrupt your thinking. Well, I was going to do this, but what's that? So if I've disrupted your thinking, you have a question. I want you to write down that question you have about sales, about a career in sales, about how money is made in sales. I know you have a question. Write down your question now. I'll give you 30 seconds. Go. What question do you have about sales as a major, minor, or career? Finish your sentence. Now, yes. What's your question? Yes, ma'am. Yes. Your name is?
Jordan.
Jordan.
How easy is it to find a sales job and find one? Like, is it easy to keep it, or you get tired of it?
Okay. So, is it easy to find a sales job? One out of every 9 people who works in America is in sales. If you go to Indeed.com and you just put sales in 50 miles, nothing up. You don't see them. But in every business, there are salespeople calling on them to try to help them in any number of ways. There are thousands of sales positions that are open right now. So you have to learn how to interview for them, how to sell yourself. Is it easy to keep your sales job? That's an easier answer. The answer is, it's not about you. It's about how well you persuade another. And once you learn how to do that, then you will stand out in your sales organization, and it only takes about 6 months. Until everyone else is saying, why is Jordan knocking it dead? And the reason is that you're not selling backpacks. People don't want to buy backpacks. What do they want to buy? Something that'll help me carry all my heavy stuff. Something that won't rub my shoulder raw. Something that looks cool. You've got to figure out what people need, and when that's the way that you sell, people buy like crazy. But what you're used to is all the slime bucket salespeople that are trying to sell you backpacks, right? I don't want a backpack. And man, the one I've got sure hurts my shoulder. Sorry, you got a question? Yes, sir. Your name is? Job security. Okay, here's another question that's related to that. Salespeople get paid commissions, right? So, what if you don't sell anything? You get fired? In companies who do not respect salespeople, the answer is yes. And you don't want to work with those companies. You start. You want to work for a company who will train you, who will invest in you. So you have to ask questions about the level of training in any company. So when you do this right, this is what I teach students in 425, presentation skills. When you interview, it's not about you. It feels like it's about you. It's about them. It's about you matching up to their expectations. So the interview is you asking questions to them. And when you do this, it completely screws up the interviews. When you start asking questions about how the company works, and how much am I going to be trained, and how is it that you have a competitive advantage that's going to last over and over? Because I'd like to work here for the rest of my life. The interviewer says, wow, I want you to talk to the sales manager because you are the person we're looking for. And the difference is, you said, it's not about me, it's about them. Question? Is there a growing need for salespeople? Frankly, there is a suspicion that's going on all across the internet that cold calling is dead. That salespeople are not really needed. Why? Because you just put things into the basket, okay, and then you pay for it and you don't need anyone to talk to you. But the question is, how many times have you said, I'd like to buy that, and you put it in the basket, and then you go off to another site? How many times do you do that? Well, the reason you do it is that you're not sure. How can you become sure? Well, they're employing people in brand new sales positions, in a chat, so they can chat with you and uncover what your real needs are. That's personal selling. Chatting. Is it sending an email to someone? That's a part of personal selling. You have to learn how to build a relationship with another person. Then you have to learn how to ask questions that help you understand whether they have a need. So how many questions do you ask during a day? Here are the questions you ask. How are you? Where are you going? What are you going to have for lunch? How many questions do we ask all day long? Not very many at all. The essence of how to be an excellent salesperson is to learn how to ask better questions. Because he or she, now listen, he or she who asks the question determines where the conversation is going. Ladies, sometimes one of your dates talks about sports or football because they just love football. How do you change the subject? Ask the question. What do you think about? What do you think about the eclipse? What do you think about? You need to ask the question, and then when you engage him on something you're interested in, then it's fun for you too, right? Say yes. All right, another question. Let's see if we've got one. Miss, your question. What'd you write down? All right. Sir, your question. And your name?
Herman.
Herman.
And what career in sales? What can a career in sales lead to?
What can a career in sales lead to? For most of you, it's not a career in sales. It's where you start. So in your first job, you need to be successful. Why? Because then it attracts attention to you. So if you're the rookie salesperson and you blow out your numbers and you beat all of the other rookie salespeople, what happens in the organization? All the eyes are on you. What is Herman doing? Why is this important to the organization? Because salespeople bring in the revenues, the sales. Everybody else in the organization spends the sale. They're called expenses, right? We create the revenues. So when you produce the revenues, everybody, all the eyes are on you. So what happens? After the first year, 2 years, when you're successful, then all of a sudden, well, you need to understand, from this point forward, wherever you are, the camera is on you. the eyes are on you. Even if it doesn't matter if you like it or not, but the camera is always on. So people are watching you. They're watching how you relate to others because they're looking for people that are promotable. So a natural place to go from an entry level in sales is into being a sales manager. Or it could be in operations. You're going to get lift in your career when you figure out how to deliver presentations so that people will listen. When you can do that, off goes your career. I get emails, not every day. Once a week I get an email from a former student that just says, "You were right. I got a thank you note. I just picked up. It said, you told me that the way to become a good speaker is to never refuse making a presentation." He said, "I've done it, and I can't tell you all the positive things that have come as a result." So sales is just where you start. Now, some salespeople who love sales will be in sales their whole career. My good friend now, Jordan Yoke, graduated from Western in 2009. I got here in the fall of 2009. He graduated in May. I learned about him as a bright, young salesperson. I invited him into the classroom, and we've been friends ever since. He works for Tom James. Tom James sells custom-made clothing to successful people. A man's suit will cost $1,000, maybe $1,200. But it's custom fitted. I've got 2 suits. I wear a Tom James suit, it's like, whoa, it's like a piece of skin. It's like, wow. And my sister saw me in my Tom James suit, first time at a funeral. And I was walking across the grass, and she stopped and she said, "Where did you get that suit?" I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Man, makes you look great." Tom James. Okay, Jordan started $35,000. Every year when he comes in, we track his income. He's now in his 9th year. Last year he told us his goal for 2017. There are 600 and some odd salespeople at Tom James. He's number 5. And he has the Louisville territory. It's not New York, it's not Chicago, it's not Miami, it's Louisville. This year he expects to make $500,000. He's done like this. Little bit better, little bit better, little bit better, little bit better. So sales can be a fabulous career. Michelle Bryson works for Stryker in Atlanta. She's worked there for 4 years. At the end of her first year, she became the #1 salesperson. Last quarter, the 4th quarter, she called me all excited. She said, "I just made a $3.2 million sale." She earned 9%. Do the math. In one sale. So, the world of sales. So, wait a minute. I know what you're saying. I don't believe it. Nah, I can't. You can't make that much money. Here's the issue, guys. You, unless it's one of your parents, you're never going to meet one of these top salespeople. Because they're not selling to you. They're selling in business to business. They're selling at the highest levels, and you are not their customer. So today you have not witnessed that kind of salesmanship. Well, in all the courses we teach, in the entry-level position, you can get extra credit by shadowing a salesperson. We want you to watch them. We want to teach you how it's done, and then let someone tell you so you can watch them and how they're doing it. Because it's just a matter of skill, of building it one step at a time. Next question. Sir, you. In the black, north face. Yes, sir.
I didn't have a question.
You didn't write one down?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can a minor in sales with a major in strategic marketing prove to have similar results as a major in sales?
Can a minor in sales with a major in strategic create better results? Well, first of all, you can't have a sales minor and a strategic major. If you have a strategic major, you can take personal selling. But you're going to take more marketing courses than sales courses. It really depends upon what you decide you want to do when you graduate. If you look at all the marketing opportunities and the social media opportunities, and you look at the sales opportunities, and you look at yourself, frankly, all of my students go through an assessment program. And they learn about how they behave. They learn about how they're motivated. And there are certain motivators that cause a person to do well in marketing, and there are other motivators that cause them to do well in sales. So what we try to do is to figure out how to put a round peg in a round hole, so that when you graduate, you're in a job that you like, that is fulfilling to you. So we'll help you do that. How much time do you have? Time's class. 12:30. Okay, a couple more questions. Sir, question. No, that's all right. You wrote something down, so tell me what you wrote.
I didn't write anything down.
All right, the fellow in red shirt wrote something down next to you.
You have to, like, your career in sales, is it solely have to start in sales? Or is there other, like, inputs to sales?
Should your career start in sales? The answer is yes. And the reason is there's so many opportunities. How many opportunities are you going to get to go right in, as a management major, to go right into a managerial role? You ever managed anyone? No. And you know about it, but you got to have some experience. So in sales, what we do is we want to help you put together a sales internship. To do something that will get your nose really good and bloody. That means go door to door. I have students every summer who go door to door. And they learn whether they want to be in sales or not. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes a student went this last summer, had a horrible time the first 2 weeks. She hated it. And then she figured out how to do it. And then she liked it. Once you get the experience, then you can know whether this is fulfilling. Is sales easy? No. Is it simple? Yes. Is it learnable? Yes. I did it. The question, sir, blues hockey. You have the blues hockey shirt on. Remember when you put it on this morning? How much money can you make after 20 years in sales? There's a relationship here that you need to understand. Vilfredo Pareto was an Italian statistician in the late part of the 19th century. He came up with this notion. He said, of all the people who own land in Italy, 20% of the people own 80% of the land. It's now called the 80-20 rule. And this relationship between 80 and 20 works across all different venues. Now in sales, here's how it works. 20% of the salespeople make 80% of the commissions. That means that the top people make all the money. And the bottom 80% fight over the remaining 20% of commissions. So the answer to the fellow in the red, sorry, your name is?
Savi.
Savi. So Savi says, what happens after 20 years? Well, I can tell you this. If you don't learn every minute of every day, if you don't learn how to get better and better and better and better, and make your next presentation the best one you've ever delivered, if you adopt that mentality, then you'll do Jordan Yoga. Because every day you're learning better how to relate to people, how to ask better questions. So after 20 years, you're done. Just run the numbers. If you work 20 years, head down, you start when you're 22, by the age of 42, you should be a millionaire. Now, there's a problem associated with it. The problem is, young salespeople tend to spend everything they make, and then they get a mortgage on a car, and they get a mortgage on a condo, and they get married, and they have another mortgage. And so they have to stay in sales just to pay their bills. That's how not to have a nice life in sales. How to have a good life in sales is to save 20% of everything you make when you put it away. You allow that 20% to compound and compound. You get a 401k, you fully match that 401k, and you live on the difference. If you're making today $10 an hour, and suddenly you're making $600 a week, can you save 15% of that $600? Yeah, you didn't have it before, right? So could you do it? Yeah, I could do it. I still have $450. I still have a lot of money. That's the answer. If you want to retire after 20 years and have plenty of money, save 20% of what you make and put it away. That's something else you need to understand. How many of you are from a small town in Kentucky? Raise your hand. Small town in Ohio. That's where I grew up. Now, those people who are from a small town in Kentucky, you raised your hand. You want to go back there? God, no. Hell no. No, I want out. So you see, once you learn how to sell, now listen, take your earphones out. Once you learn how to sell, you can live anywhere in the world. Because you know how to sell. It translates in every language. I represented an asset management firm in Louisville. I was given the South Territory, which went from Florida to Texas. And one of the fellows that I met in Miami said that the product that we offered would sell well in the South American offices. So I checked. No fooling, they didn't have what we offered. So how do you persuade your boss that you want to go to South America? So I called my boss and I said, how far south does my territory go? He said, well, you got the whole South. I said, does that mean like the islands south, like Puerto Rico? Yeah, you got Puerto Rico. You got the Caribbean? Yeah, you got the Caribbean. I'm busy. I said, okay, thanks. I booked a trip to Buenos Aires, Argentina. Well, as it so happened, I was good in sales. And when they found out that I had everything booked, they said, well, there you go, he's producing sales. And I opened up South America. Couldn't speak Spanish. And I learned. People who have money in Argentina, and not Brazil, not Portuguese, and Chile, and Montevideo, Uruguay. If you have money, you speak English. Unless you're running drugs. I wasn't going to talk to them anyway. So you see, you can live, the language of the world in business is English. It's not Chinese. It's not French. It's English. So once you learn to sell, what if you speak another language? Boom. Now the world even opens up more. Once you learn to sell, you can go anywhere and live that you want. Question?
So, could I create my own sales or marketing minor? How many hours does that require?
9. Marketing, sales or marketing minors. Total, there are some courses that you take that we consider. The major courses you take as a sales minor are 325 personal selling, 424 sales force management. That's an option. And presentation skills. And then if you want to take the winter term course to get the NCSC, you can take that. So with one more course, that probably fulfills the sales minor.
18 hours.
18 credits, 6 classes.
But this class already counts.
But 220 counts. So 15 additional hours. Sir, question. In a white shirt. What's your name? Sam. Okay. How are you tested to know whether you're a good salesperson? Some organizations are actually using assessments to assess your potential. So this is what we're going to do in my classes anyway. You're all going to be assessed. I'm going to have conversations with you about what you're motivated to do in your behavior and give you a sense of whether sales is going to be something that you'll like. But the ultimate test is, do you know how and can you prove that you're good at it? So how do you do that? Internship in the summer. There are hundreds. You can sell cars. You have to get into some job where you are going to have to persuade people and use the personal selling process that we teach you. Once you do that, and you can document that you know how to sell, that means I spent 3 months, 12 weeks. In those 12 weeks, I talked to an average of 3 people a day, and I sold 1 of those 3 on average. Whoa. Now the company's interested in you going to work for them. Because what they hate is trying to look at everything you've done in your life to try to infer that because you've done this, you would like to sell. There's one true test about whether or not you want to sell, and that is, will you like it? Will you do it? So you have to do it. You start when you're a freshman. I've got a sales internship right now for next summer that's waiting for freshmen and sophomores. It's damn hard. Hardest job I'll ever have. Miss, question. Yes, blonde, hair like this. Your name? What'd you write down? You didn't? Okay, someone's written down. Sir. How would a sales minor help in law school? So, an attorney who decides that he wants to litigate, or she wants to litigate, and they've got to fashion arguments that do what? Persuade the jury. So, good litigators have to understand who's in the jury. They understand their personality. Sometimes they even get an assessment to assess their personality. They look at their lifestyles. Because they got to figure out, how do I persuade these people? Then they have to develop a persuasive argument. And they have to make sure, as that argument is then being heard by the jury, that how you do it doesn't distract them from your message. You have to have good presentation skills. You have to know how to persuade. When you do that, then you rise to the top in litigators. But if you're going to go to law school, read The Law by Frederick Bastiat. Where you go. It's my own test. Okay. In the red shirt, sir. Nike shirt.
So how does getting like a master's in sales affect your pay rather than just a standard four-year degree?
Okay. So how does getting a master's in sales increase your compensation? Frankly, if you get a master in sales, that means you want to teach it and you want to get your PhD at a college. How many top salespeople have master's degrees? Maybe 1. I have a master's degree. How many top salespeople have a PhD in sales? Not very many. Salespeople, the education that they get is about asking people what they need and understanding the extent to which the products and services that you have can fulfill that need. The amount you have to learn there is a PhD on steroids. It never stops because new products are invented, new processes, and salespeople have to learn how these can possibly help someone. Oh, I've got another one right here. Next.
Okay. How do you build your confidence while getting into sales?
How do you build your confidence while you're getting into sales? This is what we teach in Marketing 424. When I said to learn about you. The more you understand about you, what your strengths are, and what your weaknesses are, the more you can take your right hand around your left shoulder and do this. I'm good at this, so I should do that. I'm not good at this over here. You're better at doing this over here, so I think you ought to do this. And second, what I have to do is I've got to learn how to counterbalance that. For instance, I'm way too impatient. And that means I don't listen well naturally. Well, in sales is not about selling. It's about asking questions and listening. So one of the things I had to conquer was how to listen exquisitely well and how to ask questions so that I could understand whether a person has a need. I'm not sure I answered your question. Who asked it? Who just asked the question? Yes, oh, I'm sorry. So you asked me the question, how do you get more confidence? The more you understand yourself, and the more you give yourself credit for doing the good things that you know you do, then you ask two questions after you've done something. One, what did I do well? And what can I do differently next time? And you forget about what you did bad, because that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Once you learn from what you've done poorly, then you get better. Do you learn more from your successes or your failures? Failures, right? What do you learn from success? I'll do it over again. See, failure is a natural consequence today. And as entrepreneurs, what you want to do first is you want to fail quickly. Why? Because when you're doing something, you're pouring your capital into something, and if it's not working, you need to find out right away so you can stop it. So in sales, we need to ask those two questions. To make sure that we always are confident, we say to ourselves, what did I do well? Pat yourself on the back. What can I do differently? And you create a new habit to do that differently, and when you start multiplying that, then up comes your confidence. Number two, you have to learn how to do this. What I'm doing right now, I'll teach you. It's just a skill. One more question. Sir?
I wrote down, if I have a full-time job not in sales, would it be reasonable to think that I can find a part-time job in sales and make good money with that as well?
I already have a part-time job, and I'm making pretty good money. How much? How much an hour?
Oh, minimum wage.
That's good money?
No, I'm saying in the future.
Oh, the future. You're making good money at minimum wage. That's just where you start.
Yeah.
So how can I be sure that I'm going to make more than that in sales?
No, my question is, if I have a full-time job, would it be reasonable to think that I could find a part-time job in sales and make good money with a sales job?
So if I already have a part-time job, I don't want to quit it.
Right.
I'm going to keep doing the part-time job, this job. But can I create a part-time job in sales and make additional money doing that? The answer is yes. You can do it part-time. One more question. Sir? Yeah, really sorry for your loss a couple years ago.
Yeah, I don't have one.
Especially if you're a Buckeye. All right, your question, sir.
I don't have one.
All right, for the fellow in front. Yes, sir. He has a question. Sir, would you write down? One more question and we're done.
Does someone in sales need certification?
Does someone in sales need certification? like in accounting or in healthcare. No. The certification is your track record. How do you build a track record? You got to get an internship. You got to try it. No, first you have to learn how to do it. Then you get an internship that proves to you you can do it. So today, I've come to you with this message. I know you have bills. I know you got student loans. You got to have a reliable way when you graduate to pay those off. Take a look at sales. I have a business card for you. I have a few brochures on the sales minor. If you want either one of those, just stop by and I'll give you one. I'm looking forward to seeing you in class.
Information, and we have marketing meetings.
Thank you.
So we have credit.
Oh, extra credit. I gotta get one of these.
It's creepy, dog.
Get your eyes all fucked up.
Oh, fabulous. Bastian, it's free online.
There you go.
Good. Absolutely. The track record, right? Get an internship, get somebody to hire you. Entry level position. That's great. It's a great way to start. Yeah, so that's the first proof job. So that's the track record. Everything goes on the resume. You do all this one. Are you going to need to persuade people in these towns? So you're going to evaluate something. You're going to say, I'm going to get better. You're going to have to do this. You have to have perspective. That's marketing. It's called personal selling. See it?